Good morning. We will go ahead and call to order the Wednesday, November 13th, 2019 regular meeting of the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District, the Sacramento Area Sewer District, the Sacramento County Sanitation District Financing Authority. If I could have a roll call, please.
Good morning. Directors Bruin. Present. Carr. Frost. Here. Harris. Here. Howell. Here. Kennedy. Lee.
Here.
McGarvey.
Here.
Nottoli.
Here.
Orozco. Here. Peters.
Here.
Serna. Villegas.
Here.
Warren. And Hume.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, and I will say that we welcome and encourage participation in the board meetings. And when it appears that there are several members of the public wishing to address the board on a specific item, at the outset of the item, the chair of the district will announce the maximum amount of time. Matters under the jurisdiction not posted on the agenda may be addressed by the general public following completion of the regular agenda and any off-agenda matters before the district for consideration. The district limits testimonies on matters not on the agenda to 5 minutes per person and not more than 15 minutes on a particular subject. If I can now have the Metro Cable statement read, please.
This meeting of the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation and Sacramento Area Sewer District is being recorded and will be broadcast on Sunday, November 17th at 6 p.m. on the Metro Cable 14, the Local Government Affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems. The meeting is closed captioned for our hearing impaired viewers. In accordance with the Government Code 54952.3, compensation for meeting of these legislative bodies is required to be verbally disclosed. The amount of $100 will be paid for each member participating today as a member of the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District, and the amount of $100 will be paid for each board member participating today as a member of the Sacramento Area Sewer District. Compensation for the Sacramento County Supervisors and City of Sacramento Council members is paid to the county and city respectively to partially offset the costs of those governments. Compensation for other board members is delivered to the individuals. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker identification form located at the back of chambers and hand it to the clerk. Please speak into the microphone when addressing the board and state your name for the record. Please silence your electronic devices at this time.
Great, thank you. And now if you please address the flag and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, moving on to Section 1, Timed Matters, the consent calendar.
Acting as your Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District and District Consent Matters, items 1 through 4.
I just wanted to add for the note, for item 3, you do not have the full attachment. You see that big stack, the 1,200 pages? That's one that I did not send you. In case you have any interest in looking at them, it's there. All it has is a plans and specifications. That's part of the contract. You also have the contract in the package.
All right, our forests, thank you. Anybody have any questions or any items they would like to pull from the consent calendar? Consent. All right, I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent calendar passes unanimously. On to item 5, public comment for matters not on the agenda. Is there anybody wishing to address an item not on the agenda? Seeing no one, we will move on to item number 6.
Item number 6. Receive acting as your Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District Separate Matters, receive the 2019 update of the long-term financial plan and approve the capital funding projection for the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District for fiscal years 2019-20 through 2028-29.
Thank you, Chair, board members. My name is Joe Mastretti. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the districts, and we have the update of the long-term financial plan for you this morning. We want to cover the highlights of the plan, some of the critical issues that could affect our finances over the next 10 years. We want to look at the capital funding projection for the next 10 years and then some of the forecast results. And then we want to go into the debt management plan, which is a large cost component for the district. Some of the highlights, we're in very good financial condition and continue to improve with timely rate increases your board has approved. We have very good, healthy reserves and very good credit ratings. In the next 10 years, we don't project any more rate increases beyond the $37 a month that we currently have for service rates. We have up to $1.3 $9 billion in state loans locked in at the 1.6 to 1.7% range that provide the financing for Echo Water. And we can do some early debt retirement and restructuring, and that could significantly reduce the cost of our existing bond portfolio. Some of the critical issues, you've seen this list before. These are the items that we keep an eye on regularly that can have an impact on our financial projections going forward. You can see that this year we've kind of highlighted the debt market changes. In the next couple of years, there's a lot of things coming up that could have a big impact on our annual debt service cost. So we're going to go into that a little bit more depth this year. One of the things we want to take a look at first is a capital funding projection. This is $1.3 billion estimated over the next 10 years. About 56% of that is the Echo Water project. And these numbers are coming down in the last couple of years as more of that project gets behind us. The plan has $280 million for capital maintenance and rehabilitation of our existing assets at the plant and throughout the interceptor system. We should be able to do that without issuing new debt. The plan also includes a little over $300 million for water recycling projects that you're familiar with. The good thing about these projects are mostly financed by grants, so we don't have to pay anything back. Some of the largest projects in the next couple of years, excluding the Echo Water, would be the South County Ag Water Recycling Project is going to be moving into the final design and construction phases, and the Emergency Storage Basin D liner replacement is going to be moving into the construction phase. Looking at the results, we see that we can maintain rates at about $37 a month throughout the forecast period based on the assumptions that we made for pretty moderate growth. The debt coverage ratios will remain above the minimum required by our bond covenants, and a cash reserve should be able to maintain above $300 million, which is necessary for our credit ratings and to mitigate any emergencies that we might have in the future. About $300 million of the higher cost bond debt can be paid off early as well, and that will be critical in keeping the rates at $37 a month. Every year we look at a little bit of a sensitivity analysis on some of our variables in the forecast. In the past, we've looked at the revenue side, what would be the impact of more or less revenue. So this year we want to look at the expenditure side a little bit. So we did a scenario where we increased costs sort of unexpectedly right in the middle of the forecast period by 10%. If we did that, rates would still not need to be increased because we still have pretty significant reserves that can weather that type of an increase. And we could continue to do the debt retirement and the capital plan as planned. That being said, if the cost increase was bigger than 10% or earlier than 5 years into the forecast, then we might have to make some adjustments. But that just gives you some idea of the sensitivity of the forecast. This slide shows the debt issuance plan related to the Echo Water project. We started with the 2014A bonds before we knew we were going to be able to get the SRF loans. Since then, we have 8 components of the revolving fund loans. The first, the third, and the fourth are now closed, and we're starting to make payments to the state on those. Later this year, we'll be making payments on the flow equalization and the nitrifying side stream treatment portions. We're still a couple of years away from the bigger ones, the number 6 and number 8. And looking at the early debt retirement plan, you'll see the first 2 items highlighted in green have already occurred. We paid those series off a couple of years ago for the 2013A, and then this last year we paid off the the remaining 2006 bonds. And going forward, there's several different issues that we're going to address over the next 3 or 4 years. We may do something a little different than this based on what the market gives us. So this is just kind of a snapshot at one point in time. So for the remainder of this fiscal years, we don't have any specific transactions that we're targeting. We don't have any direct purchase agreements for our variable rate debt that mature in this time period, and none of our fixed rate debt is callable. So there's nothing that we have to do right now. So I think the prudent thing is to conserve our cash for some future opportunities. One of the things that's coming up by the end of 2021 is a transition away from LIBOR, which is the index that's used for most variable rate debt and swaps. It's the index used on all of our variable rate debt and swaps. So that'll be important for us to address, particularly the 2007B bonds. These are our largest variable rate debt. They're currently they're perfectly matched with their swap, but after the LIBOR transition, they will not be matched because the swap will get a new index according to the International Swap Protocol, whereas the bonds will follow the language in the bond documents, which might result in a fixed rate debt. So we'll be looking at ways to change out the 2007B bonds in the next year or two. The good thing that we have going for us on that is that interest rates are low. It's a good time to do some refinancing, restructuring. The bonds are currently callable, so there's no penalty for calling them early. Although we have to deal with the swap, it still stands out. But there's lots of opportunities that we'll have to take the swap apart, unwind parts of it, possibly associate it with some of our unhedged variable rate debt. So we're currently working with our financial advisor and our bond counsel to come up with some potential transactions that will take us through that transition. So we're looking forward to that as actually a pretty good opportunity to restructure a big chunk of our variable rate debt. So we're recommending to receive and file the plan and then approve the capital funding projection for the next 10 years. The individual projects will come back to you for further approval as they are ready. And we'd be happy to answer any comments or questions that you might have.
Great, thank you. I have a couple of names popping up. Director Nottoli.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Joe, and certainly to all the district staff for their leadership, and certainly to, I know, the committee that's worked with staff on some of the debt management and some of the requirements, or I think guidance on issues. I think, there's a lot of good news embedded in all of this, but, I think for the ratepayer, besides a functioning system that doesn't have us in a position of obviously some problems with the state or federal regulators, which is clearly pointed out here. I think the dedicated funds to expand the plant, but also make needed upgrades. But the good news in all this is that for a 10-year period, all the way out to 28, 29, assuming the forecasts hold to a good degree, there's no rate increases. You're going to hold at $37 a month. I think it's pretty remarkable, and I think that's something that obviously, time will prove that out. But in light of what we went through from about 2010 through last year or a year and a half ago, with some significant rate increases going from about $20, if I recall correctly, to now the $37, and then having that rate stability and looking at some of the financial management, certainly managing the cost of the project, taking advantage of some of the loan programs and other marketplace forces that allowed us to retire debt early and so forth. I would just say that I think it's a credit to this organization, certainly to the leadership of the organization, but I think that's good news, and I think we need to remind our customers as the years go forward that that is good news. You're still having to pay that amount monthly, but holding for 10 years, and actually in essence it might even be 11 years, because we're 11 full years. That's pretty remarkable. Again, having sat on the board for the years that I have, and on other agencies that, have fee pressure, fee increase pressures, and so forth, that's a pretty remarkable accomplishment. And so I just want to note that. You pointed out, Joe, but you're pretty humble in your presentation. You talk about the forecast periods over it's 10 years, and I'm hopeful that we'll be able to do that as well. And then just one other quick question is that on the South County Ag Water Recycling Program, we show, starting with next year's expenditures, a pretty modest amount of expenditure, or currently this fiscal year, 1920. But then over the course of almost a 5-year period, but certainly 4 intense years there of $67 million expenditures. Why do we think it's going to take that long to, again, basically you're going to build infrastructure, put it in the road, and connect to our plant? Not that that's not costly. I mean, the $280 million is not inconsequential, but that just seems to me like, for what I see you accomplish at the plant in a relatively short amount of time, or even more complex projects, why does it take 4 years of expenditures and near 5 years of construction to construct that project?
I'm going to ask Christoph if you want to address that. I can chime in after he answers that question.
Sure. So first of all, the project is not clearly defined in terms of when individual property owners will be signing agreements. So we've looked at a phased approach for that, which means that we're not going to spend all the money in 1 year. If you look at the time frame of Echo Water, it really is considerably more than
Right.
4 years. So there are a lot of environmental hurdles as far as building a pipeline down there, and then just connecting individual properties. So 4 years is not a lot. I would not be surprised if it extends beyond that time period even.
But correct me if I'm mistaken, but I thought we were going to build a backbone infrastructure and you got environmental clearance, but you're going to largely do it in public rights of way, and obviously there'll be, some, repair of roads and such that'll have to occur as you do that, and laying the line, making sure that you have the connection points for people to draw upon that water. But I assume we're going to be smart about it, just as we do with sewer lines, that where you might anticipate a connection, you might put some extra T's in the road and so forth. It just seemed to me from the standpoint, again, I don't want to oversimplify it, but that you're going to basically put a pressurized line from the plant. You have to acquire some right-of-ways, but again, I didn't want to portray it incorrectly, but it seemed to me that this was a long period of time, recognizing, to your point, Christoph, that we still have to sign up folks and make connections and so forth. So
I think one of the things that to remember is whether we spent it over a 2-year period or a 4-year period, the money, it would not make any difference financially to us, because a large percentage of it is coming as in the form of grant.
Right.
We spend the money, we request reimbursement, and it comes back in. There's still a bit of uncertainty. I mean, we're projecting that water to be delivered late 2023 or sometime in 2024 is actually the start of it. So you're right. At this point, we don't have an exact, a sequence of events laid out. That will happen, and we're hiring the people to come in and do the design, the planning of the project, and so forth. It'll help us fine-tune that. So the next year presentation will have a much finer horizon built into it. This is more of an estimated horizon at this point, but the underlying thing to note is it is largely mute from our financial impact perspective. Right. Because of the way that the project is funded.
And just one last point. My understanding was we're going to build this transmission system, obviously connect those that we will have connections initially, but you can build the system so you can add laterals as
it's usually a 2-year project. It's estimated to be a 2-year project.
Okay.
In terms of construction season project to build the main infrastructure. Okay. And then we got to build a big pump station on the site,
right,
which is a good size project. It could be like a 2 to 2.5 years total. Okay. That's the guess at this point. Okay. But like I said, we could fine tune that next year and then have a better.
And so you'll be back to us when you say next year, next calendar year, next fiscal year, because you're going to start ramping up. It shows 2021 for, at least as you contemplate here, $67 million expenditure again, as you just divided this out. So is that, you'll bring this to us fiscal year or calendar year?
So the next early part of next year is when we're going to bring agreements for the design consultants and the program management. The actual construction, we're projecting in 2023, to start in 2023 is when the construction starts. So you got about a year and a half, 2 years worth of design and all the permitting. It's true, good amount of it is in the right of way, but there's also, we have to get the 404 permits and things like that that are still part of it. And good thing we have the HCP that's in play. It's helpful. SHCP is going to be helpful, and so we're going to be working with them. But ultimately, our goal is to deliver that project, the water, toward end of 2023 and early 24 kind of.
Okay, thanks. Again, kudos to all of you, though, on a good plan.
Thank you. Director Villegas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just wanted to follow up, actually, Supervisor Nottoli said it correctly. The $37 projection over the course of the next 10 years, if it actually holds, is really miraculous, if you think about it. We were at this 5, 6, 7 years ago, this board was contemplating twice that amount. We were looking in the 60s, upper 60s at this time for the potential ratepayer costs share responsible for this Echo Water project. So a huge thank you to Prabhakar, your staff, Joe, Vic, all, Ruben, everyone who has been actively involved in managing the cost of this in the interest of making sure that the ratepayers get the best product at the right price. And it's a big deal. That's a huge deal to be looking at long-term forecasts in 2019 in light of the cost of construction, given that we're maintaining that $37 rate. So that's a big deal. So huge kudos to you and your team, and thank you for the update.
I want to add to that, which I think hopefully take your hand and pat on your back, because it's your decisions that you made to approve the rate increases earlier is what helped significantly for the position we're in. Because we were able to get cash, we could fund part of it, the Echo Water project, with the cash, and we could use the money, especially we have a very low interest loan. I mean, really nobody else, very few people in the state have.
I said to Don that we could actually be loaning money to other agencies and making money.
They subtly inquired about that.
What was that, RT maybe?
Yeah, so this is the way it goes. The first, they blame us for taking all the money, number one. And then you say you emptied the pot completely, is the state SRF loan pot. But then they say, can we get a loan? But it's fortunate to be in the position we're in. But because of so many things that came together, and you played a big role in that, in trusting staff when we brought forth the rate increases that we asked you to do. And I even remember Director Hansen, when we were contemplating $2, he said, what would happen if we went for $3? So we told him, if you did earlier on, we could reduce the back end. That's exactly what is happening. And we were able to use the cash to unwind some of the debt that you saw, and we will continue to do that. And one of the things I think you need to be assured is those of you that's sitting on the SASD board, we haven't had a rate increase on the SASD board for 9 years. And another 4 or 5 years, we're not projecting one. So we will only ask for money when we see it's in the interest, either in the short-term or the long-term interest of the district. And you can be assured, unless external forces come in and change the lay of the land for us in terms of the regulatory side of it, I don't see a need for it, at least long after most of us are gone, that we would be looking at this rate increases. When you annuitize this rate adjustments, you're really under inflation. Taking $20 back in 2010 and add to another 10 years, that's roughly 20 years, you raised about $17. That's really below inflation cost. And in the midst, we have done a $2 billion project, and on top of it, we have unwound debt. So all of this is happening. So it's really good story to tell.
So Prabhakar, I would caution you, when electeds heap praise upon staff, don't reflect that praise back to us. It creates this weird inception, dream within a dream scenario.
But you do deserve a big part of this credit for what you have taken. And
there were good decisions that were brought to us. Director Bruins.
Thank you. A lot of my thoughts have already been expressed, but I just want to add a few words to that. it is an incredible situation to be a utility, if you will, that is holding the line on any rate increases as long as we have been and will continue to do because of the things that have taken place. Can't think of any other service that I have personally in my home that can make that claim. And so all the things you said are true, but I just want to give a special attention to you, Joe. I mean, I've seen so many dramatic changes since you came on board as our CFO, and we were well managed before, but today we are in an enviable position. And I, early on when I was a brand new board member, 16, 17 years ago, I made an appointment with our then CFO to come in and look at the financials, thinking I would understand them. It's an overwhelmingly complex task to continue to work day in and day out with that. And so I just want you to know how much I appreciate all that you do and your team has done to put us in this position. I do have one question, and that is when we look at the Ecowater debt project debt issuance plan, because the 2014A bonds, their percentage rate is so much higher than what we are enjoying through the other program. I know you have it scheduled for early satisfaction. I guess it's scheduled for 2024-25. Is there any way that could come forward?
It has a call date in 2024.
Oh, it does? Okay.
So that would be the ideal time to do it. But it actually is in the money right now for a refunding on a taxable basis. Back in 2017, you recall the Tax Act took away our ability to advance refund on a tax-exempt basis.
Right.
So now we have to do it on a taxable basis, which would add cost to the...
Okay.
But even with that, because rates have come down so much, we're actually in the money right now.
Okay, so we really have a lot of options.
Right. But we kind of really want to play out the other ones first because they're more important to take care of before 2021.
Yeah.
And I also think that rates will probably trend lower. I used to think they were going back up, but I've gotten off that train and gotten on the rates for lower for longer.
Great. Well,
train.
Thank you again.
So I think it's going to work out to our benefit, and if we wait a little longer, we can overcome some of the costs by being able to issue on a tax-exempt basis and not have to have a long escrow that eats up some of your savings. So I think we're in a good situation where we have several different issues that we can address over the next 3 or 4 years and really lower our debt profile quite a bit, like maybe $30 million a year.
Wow. And on that note, our ratepayers, they pay their bill every month or every other month and don't really hook into all of this unless we increase their rates, and then we hear about it. So in our marketing efforts, I just think it'd be a really good idea the next time we do an outreach in a newsletter format or however, in a bill insert or whatever, that we put it out there to our ratepayers, that you've enjoyed these flat rates on the SASD side. This is our projection on the other side, and we are how delighted we are to be able to hold the line on our rates. Just get the word out there to market what we've been able to do. Thank you.
We'll certainly look at the ways to get the word out. I mean, when we send the cards out, a lot of people they just don't look at them.
Right. But
so
however is the most effective way that you...
That's what we're going to look at and see how we can do that.
Great, thank you. Director Howell.
Again, I want to echo Don's comments and Jeannie's comments and Oscar's comments, and I think for those of us that have actually been sitting on this board for like a really long time, we remember meetings 10 years ago when we were looking at those rate increases that we were staring at the possibility of $70 a month. Yeah. And I just want to thank all the people, and starting with Vic, for doing such a great job at managing that project that none of us believed should have even been required, and finding ways to bring the project cost in lower than we originally anticipated. everybody has done amazing work. Ruben and Christoph and Joe and all of the people that have been here for a while, and when you were in a different role. So I'm very, very proud of what this organization has done, and I think a lot of it falls to the staff, and I wouldn't have wanted to have been sitting in those seats when you guys were trying to convince us to raise the rate sooner. I'm glad that the board went along with that. And my only other comment has to do with your comment about the pipeline, and I'm just going to remind you that, because I think you may have sat on that board as well, but the Freeport pipeline is kind of similar scale to what we're talking about on the South County Ag Line, and that was 7 years. The design work was 2005, and it didn't actually get commissioned until 2012. So 4 years is actually pretty good.
We'll hope to do it sooner than that.
No, but my point was
that's our
that
hope.
if you've cut that 7-year time frame down to 4 for a similar size project, that's actually pretty good.
It's about a 66-inch diameter pipe, so it's a good size pipe that goes down.
It's only a little bit smaller and maybe on average equal to the Freeport pipeline. So.
Yeah.
Thank you. Director McGarvey.
Yes. Dan Skoglund used to bring back some very interesting, and when you first started, like you said, $70 and the $2 billion plus, and he brought back some ideas there at the city council meeting about some pilot programs you had picked up, and all of a sudden we were doing a lot better, and just all those things that were going on like that. And Dan was just so happy to see some of those things actually coming through. And so when all the things that you guys did, and what this board followed through on that, so it was really something. I know, as I said, Dan Skoglund really did appreciate everything that you guys are doing. I appreciate it too, and so does everyone else, especially the people who are getting a bill of $37 rather than $70. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak on this item? Well, the unfortunate thing about speaking last is that everybody says all the smart things ahead of you. So I just want to add on that to the point, we were facing substantially higher rates for our customers. And so I was just kidding with Prabhakar, but I do want to thank this board for making the, I will use this word loosely, courageous decision to front load some of those increases and to accept that the increases could be much larger than they're forecasted to be now. But I want to echo the comments, particularly by Director Howell, back on staff. That the other side of that equation is not just that our ratepayers are saving, but that the management from Mr. Chiotani and from Mr. Mastretti and from Ruben and Prabhakar, you guys brought the project costs themselves down. And part of that had to do with the financial management and being able to get money cheaper. But obviously, the less money you have to borrow, the better you're going to be able to manage that debt. So I want to definitely thank staff for that. I mean, $1.6 billion is still a lot of money, but it's less than $2 billion plus that Mr. McGarvey was just referencing. I remember those days. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So we do need an action to approve the capital funding projection. As Joe said, we will bring the individual projects back to you for approval. You're just only approving the
I'll move
funding
the item.
projection.
Second. Motion from Director Howell. Who is the second? Director Villegas. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. On to item 7, please.
Item number 7, acting as your Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District Separate Matters, Regional SAN 2019 Utility of the Future Today recognition.
Board Chair, members of the board, my name is Dave Ochnacek from Folsom Planning, and I thought that this morning I was going to bring all the good news, but now I'm feeling a little shadowed from that previous presentation. Good news on that front. But yes, Regional SAN has received some recognition for
You
utility
could
of the
increase your
future.
status if you have a check.
Yeah. I don't think I have a check anywhere near that big. Anyway, I wanted to just recognize some of the good work that Regional SAN has done. Let's see. So the utility of the future, let me get the slide to go here. There we go. Utility of the Future is a program that was put together by these agencies, the National Association of Clean Water Agencies, the Water Environment Federation, and the Water Education and Research Foundation. It was based on the 2013 publication, this Blueprint for Action. And the focus of that blueprint was to focus on resource recovery, watershed protection, cultural change, and community partnering. One of the things that they show and that they express in this program is that this is a recognition program. It's not an awards program. There's a significant difference between the two. Awards being that you're actually competing agencies against each other. That's not the intent of this. Its intent is to recognize agencies that have been moving their organizations forward and making good positive impact. So they're looking to grab as much and recognize as much as they can to promote this business model for the water sector, recognize achievements, and then, of course, peer-to-peer learning is important so that each of the agencies can learn from each other. This emblem is what's used to recognize the program. You'll notice that in the center is the organizational culture. That is what is recognized as a foundation for all of the other activities to be supported sustainably. The surrounding areas, the 7 that are around the center, are the actual activities that get recognized. Applicants can submit for one or many of those. The idea is, again, to recognize agencies that are making progress in those areas. The request is that each agency that has gotten recognition, that they come back and reapply at least once every 3 years. And the intent is to either show advancement in any one of the activities that has previously been recognized, or to grab one that has not been recognized and show that you've made progress in that area. Regional SAN submitted in 2016, and then again this year in 2019. We've been recognized for 6 of the 7 categories, and we are one of 118 agencies that have been recognized in this program. So organizational culture, again, is the foundation or centerpiece of this. It's not something that is actually recognized, but it's expected that each agency submit a narrative that describes what you do for organizational culture, and they look for agencies that support employee enrichment and job enhancement. And of course, that organizational culture doesn't happen without good leadership and, of course, the decision-making of your board. And Director Hume has said that you want to be careful how much you recognize the board for decisions, so I'm going to back away from that now. But anyway, it is important that these programs, and we'll see, many of them are decisions made by your board, and we would not be moving them forward and getting this recognition without your board. So the several items I'll just hit on real quick that were in the organizational culture, the 10-year strategic plan we created several years ago and is our business planning model for now. We've got core values in place now. There's a workplace of choice initiative that's really in its infancy right now, but moving along very well. We have a wellness program that has been in place for quite some time. We do some employee development through both those mentor and mentee programs and the leadership program. And then we have a Going Green program that I'm not sure that you've all heard about, that we reach out to our nearly 800 employees through SASD and Regional SAN with the intent of encouraging them to be more conservation-minded and do green activities on an individual basis. And then, of course, our Confluence program that supports environmental stewardship, economic development, public education, and is a source of funding for our Sewer Lifeline Rate Assistance Program. So starting with the biosolids reuse. Biosolids is, of course, a byproduct of our treatment process. It is rich in nitrogen and has a lot of micronutrients in it, so it is a good product to be used as a fertilizer. So for 20 years, we've now had a contract with Synagro partnership, and Synagro takes our solids and heats them, compresses them, and creates a Class A pellet that is used for farming operations. So Synagro has relationships with the farming communities, and they bring those pellets out for a very useful fertilizer for them. Regional SAN produces about 28,000 dry tons of solids per year, and 30% of that goes to Synagro for the purposes of transitioning to this usable product. The rest of the 70% is disposed of on site. So this item, the partnering engagement, is really too much to describe. There are a lot of partnering and engagement items that we do. So just rolled up the professional organizations. We participate with California Association of Sanitation Agencies, the Central Valley Clean Water Association, Water Reuse, and a number of others. We're involved with environmental organizations, and a lot of those have come about in the course of our South County Ag. We've become connected with the Nature Conservancy, Sierra Club, Planning and Conservation League, Ducks Unlimited, several others. And then community partnerships. Our Nicholas Dairy and our education program that we're building out there has gotten us connected with a lot of partnerships. So Elk Grove Unified School District, Elk Grove Historic Society, UC Davis, Master Gardeners program, several others. And then, of course, we stay connected with the water community through with Regional Water Authority, the local water agencies, and then we sit on the Sacramento Central Groundwater Authority as well. Next item is energy efficiency. We've had an energy efficiency program in place since 2005. We have a team of people that look at the operations at the treatment plant and look at ways that they can conserve energy. So there are a number of monitors that are in place that look at key systems to see whether or not what energy usage they have for opportunities to reduce those usages. We have a business initiative right now that's looking to put more of those monitors in to advance that program as well. The next item is energy generation and recovery. This is an item that we submitted for in 2016 and then again this year in 2019. Utilizes the biogas recycling facility is one where we send biogas, which is mostly methane, over to SMUD, and SMUD uses that with natural gas, burns them in a cogeneration facility and produces electricity, enough for about 5,800 households. They also produce steam for the treatment plant, and then they also provide backup power in case there's a power outage for the treatment plant. The biogas enhancement facility is one where we collect fog, fats, oils, and grease from restaurants, and that is brought to our treatment plant. There's a location where they can discharge that, and that goes into our digesters, which likewise produces gas, more for energy. And then towards the end of our 2016 period, we ended up with a power purchase agreement with Tesla, which was previously Solar City. And that was the initial steps of going to our solar farm that we have at the treatment plant. So we submitted for that in 2016, and it was the 2019 application when that was implemented and on its way. And we now have a 4 megawatt solar farm out at the treatment plant. Produces about 6% of the treatment plant's power usage. And then we'll also, in that same application, we entered into SMUD's Solar Shares program, where we're able to purchase green energy from SMUD, and that produces about 25% of our power. So this next item, you'll notice I skipped the nutrient reduction portion. I'll get back to that. That is the piece that we did not submit on yet. Water reuse, of course, we've got our water reclamation facility, has been in place since 2003. We produce about 3.5 million gallons of recycled water that goes to the treatment plant and Elk Grove for beneficial use. We also more recently installed a pipeline that moves north of the treatment plant to carry recycled water north of the plant, and that will feed to the SPA or SMUD's cogeneration facility. And that piping system will be used or the water will be used to offset the use of potable water in the cooling towers. And then during our period, we had a 5-year drought period of time. During that water rationing, we also created a recycled water truck filling station that was used to help people in case that they needed recycled water for the purpose of irrigating their lawns or other property owner areas. And then South County Ag, which we just recently been talking about, we're looking to recycle 50,000 acre feet of water to irrigate 16,000 acres of land in the South County. So missed one of those. Watershed stewardship, again, is too much to list. We participate in a regional monitoring program that is to check on contaminants that can end up in the Delta and are contributing waterways, the Sacramento River. And then we have a bufferlands group who manage our bufferlands, obviously. They 250 acres of riparian habitat is maintained out there, and that's a home for many of our birds and plants and animals. Ultra-low flush toilet program we contribute to reduce the use of water. And pyrethroid work group is pyrethroids are a chemical that's in many insecticides, and that has a lasting issue. We check on that in the American River. And then a phytoplankton study that we've also participated in, which is part of our food web, and we'd like to make sure that those phytoplankton are strong, remain healthy. So the last item I wanted to hit on was the nutrient reduction materials recovery. We had not submitted on this. We do have recycled, and we do recycle our materials, both, not just cans and bottles, et cetera, but also some of the spent equipment that's used at the treatment plant. We've not yet submitted on it because we realize that the intent of this is to recognize the nutrient reduction. And of course, with the Echo Water Project, as we've been talking about, there's a biological nutrient removal process, which is squarely, nutrient reduction that will happen as a part of that. And then also what's happening right now is the startup and operation of a nitrifying side stream treatment facility, which takes very ammonia-rich water from our solid storage basins and breaks that down to a nitrate and discharges it into the incoming water that comes into the treatment plant, and that operates as an odor control. And that is offsetting significantly the use of sodium hypochlorite. So that has both benefits. It's actually reducing nutrient load on the river, and it's also providing benefit of offsetting our chemicals. So lastly, I wanted to show you a picture of what we received. The flag is the one that we received in 2016, the first recognition. There's a smaller flag there. This is 2019. That's for our follow-up submission. And I've got a picture with Bernie in there. Bernie Creelman is one that has helped us put together this application. And that was a significant amount of work and a lot of coordination with folks. And that concludes my presentation. Questions?
Great. Thank you. Any questions at this point? Director Villegas.
Just a quick statement. I wanted to follow up on what Jeannie said earlier. This is really, really good information that the public should know, right? This is not something that we should have here. The ratepayers need to know that this organization has been good stewards of our very precious resource, and all the biogases and all the recycling efforts and all the restructuring of our financing and our debt. There ought to be some simple way in which the public gets that information in their hands so they further understand sort of the preservation of this mothership, right? So otherwise it just goes in a file and it's our information and we take it with us. But I'd really implore staff to figure out a way to convey this information so that the public is aware.
Great point.
I mean, I can add to it is that I'm very proud to be part of this organization, knowing that we do so many things, and they're balanced and broadly done, including the last one that you got involved with, the Confluence program. It makes a difference in terms of whether it's cleaning, the American River Parkway, or providing sanitation facilities for homeless folks, or cleaning the American River itself. There's so many things that we do. Like you said, we do it behind the scenes, mm-hmm. and we definitely will look for ways for the public to be educated. We offer tours to public, and in the last tour that we did, and a few people have asked, what does it take if we paid more? How much more do we need to pay to recycle even more, do more things? And so there's more and more people as we engage them. They are more inclined to go in that direction. I think it only bodes well in the long term for the district to continue these programs and can do it well. So we'll look for opportunities to. Just
extend to Bernie our gratitude. Known her for a long time, and I know what a hard worker she is. And she's not here today to hear it from person, but please let her know how much we appreciate all that she's done.
Absolutely.
Director Lee.
You know, a thought occurred while Director Villegas was talking about getting this out in the public. Is there a way to condense this information and accompany it with a bill so that ratepayers can actually be informed of the stability of the rates in which they'll be paying for the next couple of years, as well as the efforts in which this entity, this agency is doing? I think that would be tremendous, kind of like an update. I would think that the cost would be minimal. I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah, definitely look into that.
Yeah.
We just real quickly, we did do a bill insert in July when we didn't raise rates when we projected to, but we can certainly follow up with a bill insert with more specific information and also address utility of the future. We have our annual Echo Water newsletter coming up, and so that's a great place to share that message as well.
You just put a note in every bill that said your rate did not go up this month.
Director Nottoli.
There might be another way to either through the bill insert, but I know we have a website and these presentations, but also then I think if people want to take a deeper dive, if they were interested, they could look to, you might have Dave out at the plant talking about this, or have Bernie talking, where you actually could go in and see, do kind of the virtual experience quickly. But I mean, again, draw people in. A lot of folks may not take the tour, but they can, one, know about, the leadership this district is showing in a whole lot of ways, fiscally, but also with environment. But also then they can, go and see it and not just, see a static presentation. There may be a way to do that over time, obviously, but I think it would, show them Nicholas Ranch, show them the South County Ag Court, talk with some of your partners. You don't have to have a big production, but I think you could have those clips. People are used to going seeking information and seeing it in those smaller bites. I think they tell the story in a way that, you can, if you get their attention, obviously, I think people will learn about us from that source, where they may not make the physical visit and or read, a long, lengthy presentation. So.
And it might be also helpful to link those to the member agencies' websites and Facebook pages.
Yeah, we'll definitely explore how to leverage the digital part of it. And we already have the virtual tour on our website for Regional SAN. We could certainly add more things like that, and then use the social media to bring traffic so that not everybody
it's
can
just
come
that
to
I think
a tour.
that more often people don't realize that. They think that all the money goes to the city of Folsom. They don't realize that Regional SAN exists. So if they're looking for something to, in most cases, complain about, they're going to go to the city's website. So if there was a link on our website to take them to Regional SAN, that could be a good thing.
We'll look into
You have
it.
a very good story to tell, and I think that,
Absolutely.
the more you're able to tell it in different mediums, I think that, better off we are for the future, so thanks.
Director Bruins.
I was just going to dovetail on what Director Howell just said, and encourage us to use social media, even the YouTube channel, just a lot of ways that, I don't know how extensively we use those media today, but that's how the word gets out to people. I mean, you can go on YouTube and find out anything. I mean, let's get our story out there.
We got to be a little bit careful on that one, YouTube. I mean, there's just so much junk.
Well, okay.
just need to have,
we'll leave it to our professionals on staff to determine the best way to do that.
Nicole definitely has the resources to look into it, and I'm sure
If you have any cats that live at the plant, that could be helpful.
Cat
And
stories.
we do have a robust social media presence currently, and we'll fold this content into our social media calendars and encourage you all to share on your channels as well.
Great, thank you.
Director McGarvey.
Yeah, if you're able to get that program and public relations kind of information going, then there should be some way for you to give that to the school districts. Because like in Rancho Cordova, they have a STEM academy, science, technology, engineering, and math. And if you could give that to them, maybe they would get something more out of it than just numbers or something like that. Because kids are pretty interesting, and they can really look into things a lot more. I know my grandson's in that school, and it's amazing what they're doing right now in that kind of a school. If you could give them what's really going on here too. I mean, nobody thinks about sanitation district. Well, there's this a sewer.
a lot of good comments we're going to take and then see how we can amp it up. Appreciate that. Appreciate the comments.
Okay, anybody else would like to comment on this? No? Thank you very much. Appreciate the good news. And I believe that brings us on to item number 8.
Acting as your Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District and Sacramento Area Sewer District, consent matters, item number 8.
I'll move consent.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. On to item number 9, please.
Acting as your Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District and Sacramento Area Sewer District separate matters. Verbal update on upcoming staff changes.
Good morning, Board. I have some announcements concerning some changes to our management team. The first one concerns the South County Ag Recycle Water project that we spoke about earlier. As you know and you heard, the project will construct a large pump station, the large pipeline, and then the conveyance pipelines that will deliver water to South Sacramento for agricultural reuse, for habitat projects, for indirect groundwater recharge. And as you know, we were awarded a $280 million grant for that project. So we are moving aggressively to proceed with that project for the planning, design, and construction of the project. We are going to manage that recycled water project very similar to what we've done for Echo Water project. And so that requires a district program manager. We're going to populate that team with district staff, and then we're going to hire a consultant to be an extension of staff where we need that additional expertise. So the first step, and this is one of the changes we're making on our management team, is the leader. So Mike Crooks, who, as you know, has been our engineering manager for about almost 7 years, he's taking a lateral within my department, and he will be the South County Ag Recycle Water Program Manager. Mike, wave your hand. So now your board knows who to pressure if that project is moving too slowly. But anyway, Mike has over 25 years of experience, as I mentioned, in the last 7 with us. He also worked quite a few years with the Sacramento County Water Agency on the Vineyard Plant, so he's perfectly positioned to lead that team. And I'm working with him and the other senior staff to identify staff that become available as the Echo Water projects wind up, and so we're having those meetings now. We'll be issuing an RFP for consultant assistance probably the next month or so, and expect to bring back to your board sometime in spring of next year a consultant agreement for that extension of staff agreement. And then, as Prabhakar mentioned, into 2020, we'll be issuing design consultant agreements with your approvals to move forward aggressively. So we are wanting to move this as quickly as we can. So that's one of our first changes. Secondly, we had to backfill Mike's engineering manager position, and I'm very happy to report that Sunny Lundy is our new engineering manager. Sunny, wave hello. You know Sunny from quite a few years with SASD, and so he's very familiar with both districts, and I'm very happy that he's part of our team because he brings a lot of experience from SASD, some good ideas that will continue to better the district, so I'm happy with that. Sunny was the engineering manager with SASD for quite a few years and has almost 20 years worth of engineering experience. So 2 very good changes that I'm pleased about. And the last management team change concerns me. Prabhakar sent an email to your board about a year ago of some pending retirements, myself, Prabhakar, and others here in the near future. I've announced to Prabhakar that I'm going to retire in July of 2020, about 8 months from now. And most people don't announce their retirements so far in advance. There's a couple of reasons I've done that. One, I felt pressure from Prabhakar to do so. No, I'm kidding. I'm at will. He could actually let me go at any time. I'm joking. No, I actually felt compelled to do so because Prabhakar does want to have a succession planning effort. I believe he wants to hire somebody with some overlap before I retire in July of next year. So I'll let him just speak about his plans for succession.
Yes. So before I talk about that, most of you don't know that our Director of Internal Services, David O'Toole, has left. He returned to the state. He had a promotional opportunity that he took kind of on a short notice at the end of last month. He was offered a Chief Operating Officer position at the Controller's Office with substantial responsibilities and its promotion, and we wished him well. So the recruitment for that position is out. Advertisements going on, and my goal is it's a director appointment. My goal is to do the interviews mid-December-ish timeframe. We've got the holidays in the middle. It has to be brought back to the board appointment, so most likely early February is when we would be able to make that appointment. Late January, early February is when we would be able to make that appointment. So that's number one. With the Rubens position becoming open, I plan to, it could happen in different ways. There's a number of people, if you remember, that I've asked a number of people those that expressed interest in the director positions, and I've also stated with you that what my timeline is, and it is, for the record, that I plan to leave before summer 2021. Summer 2021 is the last that I would plan to be here. The reason for that is I have some health issues that if it's necessary that I may have to leave early, and I would at least. The plan was I looked in the organization who are interested in my position, so I'm kind of moving them around so that they get the exposures that's necessary to make the decisions that are relevant to this position, and that's happening. So as we interview for Ruben's replacement, the vacancy could happen at different places that we don't know yet. So I want to open it up, and again try to get somebody on board. At least 3 to 5 months overlap, meaning that Ruben, July 4th, I think is the last date that he is announced. That's a date that he intends to. My plan, I'm working with the county side of the folks to see is we can create a temporary position and move Ruben into it, and then recruit so that we get the overlap that's needed to perform in that position. In David's absence, Anna Nicolau, who's Anna, she's been appointed as not an appointment, that's asked to be an interim. So she's functioning as an interim ISD director until we get new replacement. I mean, I'm not prepared to announce today, but there's also could potentially be a couple of more critical positions in the summer of next year, critical to the Echo Water project as well as the other executive team. So that could well be. So there's a lot of change at the executive level for both of the organizations in the next year and a half-ish or so. I just wanted you to let you know, and also as things gel, and I'll be bringing forth that information. Anyway, that's what I have.
Okay, and I just let it be known that I will cease my service on this board come November 2022. So as long as we're painting a forward projection of things.
I say that I'm very happy that I'm working through with the many of you here.
So if they're all going to be gone, does that mean we have to plan your retirement party?
Yeah, that's it, yeah. I want a cupcake and at least one candle. Any questions of staff at this point? No? Okay. Moving on to item 10, miscellaneous director and district engineer matters.
The first thing I want to mention is Director Serna is not here today. He's undergoing, I believe, a surgery. And I wanted to wish him well in his recovery. And I think he's planning to come back in January. His staff sent a memo out. I wanted the rest of you to be aware that please keep him in your thoughts as he goes through the surgery. The second one is we do not have another meeting this month. This is the only meeting. The next meeting is on December the 11th, which should be a very short meeting, probably about 10 minutes or so, 10, 15 minutes at the most, unless we have a closed session that comes in related to an issue that we're working. But what I'd like to do is to start the discussion on the subcommittee. Remember that the last meeting that the subcommittee was formed, so we will hold the first meeting of that subcommittee right after that short meeting on December 11th, and I'll send information out ahead of time. So we got Director Kennedy, who missed the meeting, and he was unanimously appointed by his fellow board supervisors, and then we have Director...
Which is why I came today.
No more assignments.
Then it worked.
We have Director Bruins and Director Orozco, who left, and then Director Hume, and then we have Director Howell and Director Villegas, 6 members. And so I'll send the note out. So that's a meeting.
Didn't we get Patrick chair?
No. Not Patrick, yes.
But I also want to have Nicole just say a word about why you have these envelopes in front of you. So Nicole, go ahead.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. In front of you, you should have an envelope from SASD that says "Scrape away your holiday cooking worries." The suspense, I'm sure, is killing you. So please go ahead and open that envelope, and you'll see a fats, oils, and grease newsletter, or what we call in this business FOG, which I know you are all familiar with that terminology. Beginning next week, this envelope and newsletter is going to be hitting residential customer mailboxes for all of SASD's service area. And we're doing this public outreach push because data has shown us that during this time of year, we start to see an uptick in fog-related stoppages. And since we all know that fog-related stoppages are a completely preventable problem, we want to proactively educate our customers and provide them the tools necessary to help us stop the clog this holiday season and all year long, really. So inside, you'll notice that we've affixed a scraper to the newsletter, and that's just a tool to help customers put all of their fats, oils, and grease down into the trash instead of down the drain. And we share that message. And then in addition to the fog disposal messaging, the newsletter also reinforces our call us first message. So if customers experience a sewer problem like a slow drain or a backup, to call us first if they experience that any time of day. And then it also reinforces who we are, what we do, and how we're working every day to protect public health and the environment. So please take a look at that. You'll see that start hitting mailboxes, like I said, next week. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer that. But we're encouraging our customers and, of course, all of you to have a fog-free holiday season.
Great. Any questions? No. Okay. Does that conclude item 10?
Yep.
Very good. We excuse the County Sanitation District members. Move on to the Sacramento Area Sewer District consent matters.
Items 11 through 13.
I'll move the items.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion or comments? No? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And we will note the communications received and filed and adjourn the meeting.